Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another video on the YouTube channel. It's MadLutter53. I am back. Not on the DDT podcast, not in Universe Mode, not in the Lord's Craft series, but with a quick tutorial video that I've been wanting to make for quite some time. I feel like I'm in that weird identity crisis phase on YouTube, where everyone just looks at my channel and they either see me inactive or they just see me and it's a random video and it's like, what? This is out of the norm for him. And they either click on it out of curiosity or they just move on with their days. Either way, this one is making wrestling match graphics with PicsArt. To put this in perspective, I have used PicsArt for the past 7 years. I am self-taught with all of it. It is my primary tool. As a disclaimer, I do not pay for any of the subscriptions on PicsArt. I never spent a dime on it, never spent a penny. Everything I've done is only using the free services on that app. There's been ups, there's been downs on this app, but ultimately I've continued to use it for years and years. And I feel like I've learned a lot. I feel like I've grown a lot. And I built up a portfolio on Instagram showcasing a lot of what I've made using only PicsArt. And I'll pull that up in a minute. But I kind of want to go into the quick goal before I obviously get into making match graphics. The goal of this video is to try and help educate people who have never done this before. Or maybe you have and you're just trying to learn a few tricks and skills of like, oh, okay, well, how can I improve? What can I add that'll help me get to the next point? Or maybe you're a veteran at already doing this in the wrestling series, or maybe using PicsArt. You already know everything there is to know. Or maybe you have just as much experience as me, and you're just like, yeah, let's see what this guy has to say, just to give me a different perspective on design. Whatever it is, I really just wanted to make this to give people kind of an outlet to take a look into this. I am an amateur. I'm self-taught. I have no paid professional experience in using PicsArt, and I'm not saying that this is the way to do it to get you over the edge. Obviously, my following doesn't exactly put proof into the pudding that you'll instantly become the biggest name ever. I mean, for example, I've never really done moving graphics versus still graphics. These are still images that we'll be making today. Just one. I came up with a mock piece. You can see part of it right there of the final product that I put together. And it's kind of what we're going to be going into. If you're looking for other things just to see what I've done, I know this sounds like I'm pretty much just advertising my own stuff, which is partially true. You can go here. You can go to Mad Army Productions. It is my website, or not my website, my Instagram account. It's where I'm putting all my stuff. It's pretty much any project I work on, I post there. There's a lot of good spots, or a lot of good posts. A lot of it is wrestling focused, but some of it is sports related. Formula One, even highlighted the podcast before, as well as hitting 700 subscribers on YouTube. Randomly, this one I decided to do from Helldivers. But overall, I really enjoy this. And these are not even like the full entire images for most of these. You'd have to click on it to get the full image. But yeah, that's kind of a quick showcase of that. And then as far as this goes, I'm going to hold on. Let me set this up real quick. Sorry about that. Had to do some maneuvering around to get to where I needed to go. So I typically use PicsArt on my phone. So bear with me if I'm not instantly proficient at or fast moving with this walkthrough. This might take me a few minutes to get rolling and get into my groove, just because I don't use the computer at all to piece everything together. But this is pretty much what it looks like. there's a canvas. You can do dark mode or light mode. I do prefer dark mode on my phone just because it helps me see a lot better and it's less strain on the eye. In this graphic, I have 8 images. I pulled these all from Google. I'm going to go on a little bit of a small tangent here. I'll keep it short, sweet as possible. If you have never done this before, my own personal opinion, only download stuff off of Google. Do not stray to other websites. Do not, for fear of viruses, stay on Google. Stay on Google with downloading items. Do not stray off of websites or onto alternative websites. Be very careful what you click on, where you go, because people will try and take advantage of that. It is the internet. I just wanted to put that disclaimer there. All this stuff is from Google. I did Google image or Google searches for images. Just for an example, the Edge image on the right, I did like Edge 2022 WWE PNG and just hit search, and you pick out of the ones that you want and go from there. WrestleMania 39. Obviously, if you've watched wrestling, then, or at least WrestleMania 39, you know that I'm going to try and recreate Finn Balor versus Edge, that poster, with my own spin on it. We've got 8 pictures here, 8 layers to piece together, and you don't necessarily need to use all of them. I just picked 8 because I feel like it's a very nice tool. I'm going to get into this now. So this is your canvas. I set it up to be a YouTube style size. You can honestly choose all the different sizes on the layouts. I went with a YouTube cover. I wanted a high pixelation count to make sure that a lot of these images don't degrade when you try and use the other effects, because it kind of like tightens up the pixelation, if I can think of the right words for it. But ultimately, I'm going to get a background. That is this image. This is a Hell in a Cell image. It isn't the best quality. In all honesty, it is probably the worst quality out of all these images. You can probably right-click it, set it as the background. So that's our background. We have 8 images in total to fool around with. I personally typically use a lot more. I think my highest count was near 100, maybe more on some of my images that I made. Let me see if I can rotate this. Yep. So I want to rotate this image, and I want to make it big. I want to make this huge. This is going to be a little bit of a janky motions, so I do apologize. I wanted to do a slow walkthrough like this just to help people gain a good perspective of what this is like to do this. This can honestly be bigger. So this is where you get into sizing, which can intrigue people. It might not intrigue a lot of people, but it intrigues me. Because basically, when you're trying to piece together an image, you're trying to figure out, is this a good fit? Do I need it to be resized? Do I need it to be reshaped? And overall, I think this does look good. Now, this is where, if I can find, not the erase, I think it's the adjust. Nope. If you're wondering, the blend option. Okay. So I always love the blend option. We're probably going to fool around with this as a quick heads up to everyone. This is where we really, I think I'm going to go with a screen. We'll see if this is translucent. Blending is very underrated, at least from what I've seen from people who start out. Do not be afraid to blend things. Blending is a very helpful tool. It will help you in the long run. And ultimately, I think it's a great idea, because it helps you be able to do this, if I can show and not just tell. Sorry. coming off of a week of being sick. Send backwards. So literally sending backwards is just sending back the layers. This is what it does. So because of the blending, because this was actually a solid image, this was all black right here. This would have all been not able to be seen. Just to give you an example, if I go back to normal, it blackens it out. But because it's going with a screen, it's opening this up for the image to be seen through. Now, in my personal opinion, I don't like the fact that Ballard can be seen here. At least his arms. So we'll have to hide that. I don't have... We can honestly make our own blur effect, probably. But in the meantime, I'll get this. I think I had all the parts. I think I used like a square and I just blurred it, if I remember correctly. So obviously for edge, we have a little bit more cutoff. This is where you kind of just resize and reshape based upon dimensions. So it's kind of just eyeballing it a lot of the time, especially on a phone. Trying to make sure that both these guys kind of look the same with their faces. It's fine if the headpiece is a little bit taller. And then this is where I utilize, kind of once I get that placement, I then put this in the background. This is where we can really dial up the piece. So this is what I chose. They were in a Hell in a Cell match. I personally love the match type, and I always feel like there's a creative opportunity with everything when it comes to Hell in a Cell. This needs to go backward, I think. No. It's fine the way it is. What does it need? This is where we use the erase. Size, we'll make it smaller. Use this. This is where we quite literally shave it down. Anything that is directly over the wrestlers, you don't necessarily need. I like to have a little bit of darkness around my people. And you just want to take all this away. You don't honestly need to do this. I personally like to just, and I mean like taking it away like right here. Because we've already pushed it back. You don't necessarily need to do it. You can trace it. Kind of like how I'm doing right now. You want it around the body so that stuff can still be seen through. I don't want the gold to be dorked up too much with it. And we'll see how the app, at least on the computer, takes it. Quite literally a interesting walkthrough. So we're going to apply that. And then just like that, we have more of these images. Need to move. Yeah, look how that turned out. One adjustment I do want to make to it, and this is where you can fine tune it. And this is down to personal preference. So I'm going to change the size still. I'm going to lower this a bit. I'm going to change the softness. I'm going to make this ever so slightly darker here. Even though, you know, I know I just did a lot. Blending and erasing are crucial. I feel like you get a lot done. I feel like there's a lot of creativity that can come with it. And this is the bare bones tip of the iceberg kind of start to that. I think once you really start using these effects, you will see a lot of change. Now I do want to recover this. So as you can see, there's a little bit more darkness around the edges. No pun intended with Edge, the rated R superstar, being in this. Send backwards. Send backwards again. We have him hidden. So, what are we gonna do now? Honestly, I almost wanna... Yeah, we're gonna do this. And I know this is gonna sound crazy, but only because I don't have a great image just on me. I'm going to... Oh, we can do it this way. This works. This works. I'm going to see if I can edit this piece. Maybe not. Maybe I can't. Huh. Typically, on the phone, this allows me to edit it and do the blending or the erasing. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause the recording real quick, and I'm going to grab a shade effect. So I'll be right back, just so that I have it. It's weird. I don't know why the image isn't letting me do that, but I'll be right back. All right, I'm going to unpause. As you can see, we have more of a fade effect. Literally, it took me like a minute or two to just type up. It was a black fade PNG, and you just make sure that you pick the right file, and then you just stretch and move it, and it creates this effect. Typically, I do use the blocks. I don't know why it's not letting me on the computer. Maybe it's just different, but you can always find a fade file. Sometimes it might not be the right color. You gotta work with what you got, but a black fade and a white fade are typically very easy to find on a Google search, like first 5-10 images. And then we just bring it down. We literally just bring it down, and then look how much more sleek this is. We have a lot more hidden, and then we're able to put our graphics here. WrestleMania, we want this piece here, front and center. You can kind of just reshape it however you want. We're going to kind of move it in line with this to line up with that bar right there all the way through. So pretty much if you wanted to, and I'm gonna hide these two images, which is just literally hitting the eye icon, and then that way they disappear. You could honestly be done right here. I mean, on a basic fundamental level, you can pretty much call it here. On the phone, I know what they can do is they can add a fade effect or a shadow effect. I don't know if they'll let me do it here. I don't believe they can. Oh, there it is. I think maybe shadows. Oh, no. This is actually adjusting the image. I was like a back fade is what I was looking for. But that is fine. Oh, shadow. There it is. Yep. So we're going to make this 0. Ooh, I like the position presets. That's cool. They do not have that on the phone. So this helps it stand out a little bit more, and you can adjust the blur if needed. I'm going to keep it at 100. I'm going to add the same thing on Finn Balor. I know. I'm really in the nitty-gritty. But honestly, you could call it done right here. You realistically could. I do like this appearance. I think it's a very cool graphic. This one's a little less sharper. If that's how you want to do it, you're done in 15 minutes. Less than if you had all these presets. And what's cool is if you only have a 1-on-1 match or a 2-on-2, you can quite literally take these people out, replace them with a different file. Just make sure you put them all the way down this list underneath these layers, and you can just interchange it with Big Show, Mark Henry, the Great Khali, Roman Reigns. You could interchange it. You can interchange logos. You can change these colors. There's a whole bunch of different options. Once you form a preset, or once you have an idea of what kind of design you have for a show, boom, you're off to the races. I like to take it one or two steps further. I like subtlety. I like additional images. And that is why I'm probably going to just pause and do this. Just to show rather than just go through the entire bit. But I like additional imagery to help enhance. And that's where these come in. What I like to do is utilize all that emptiness. All this emptiness here and try to fill it. Because right now our color palette is black, gold, and red. And the red stands out. It's bold, it's different, and it's a nice centerpiece. It's very symmetrical and even. Balor's got a little bit of that red. There's a lot of this gold sweeping in, bottom, center. But this is where we can add like a purple, and this is where we can add edge. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm basically going to add this effect into the chain link right here. So we just size, we reshape, kind of have an idea of, okay, this is right around where I want his face to be. Yeah, this looks good. We're gonna be right about there. And then for Finn Balor, we're gonna take it up here. Want to make sure that headdress is in here. That's probably good. Okay, so what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to put this on pause, and I'm basically going to quite literally work on these. So, right there. And I'm basically going to make these effects happen with that erasing. And I'll show you when it's done. So, 1 second. Be right back. Alrighty. Finished it up. Got it done. It was literally just erasing kind of all around these, and then using like that, almost creating a fade effect along with the edges. So at this point, again, you can be done with this. You can literally sit there and say, nah, can't do anything better than that. I don't want to mess with it any further, which, more power to you. I don't have a problem with that. I think that this is a solid graphic right here. If somebody showed this to me and they wanted my opinion of it, I would say, you know what, that's actually really well done. Like, fantastic job. There's things to tweak, obviously. You can do X, Y, and Z with it, but overall, I'd be happy looking at this graphic. I'd praise whoever made it. Say, hey, great job. Me, I want to go and do one final thing. So you have all these effects. You have all these layers, but there is one piece missing, and I don't know where it is. Elements? No. More tools? No. Templates? Layout? Photos? Interesting. Hold up. Let me figure this out. Okay. So one key difference here that I'm seeing is that for some reason, when you go into the effects tab, you can only do it per image, which is rough. So, bear with me. I think I'm going to export the image, and we'll go from there. So, stand by. So, at this point, we are done. I know it's a 24-minute video, but this is kind of what I had to do. Basically, what I had to do was I had to export the file as one image. That way, just to save time, I could have done each individual piece, but I'm going to do this way, just to show everybody how it's done. So quite literally, you could select the image that you finished up, you go to Effects, and this is where you have a bunch of options on the left. Do not be overwhelmed. Do not be worrying about all this plus stuff. I only use stuff that is free for everybody. So I like going under the simple, and I like looking at all these. So off the bat, I think because it's a little bit gold, I'm going to go with this effect. as you can see, there's this slight subtle change with all the colors. It's just how it is, but I personally like this. So I'm going to keep that. And then I'm going to see if this allows me to choose multiple. If they don't, we're going to do this one at a time. If it does, fantastic. So then we're going to go to, I think, HDR. Ooh, it doesn't let me. Okay. Okay. So we're going to do this one at a time. I'm going to do this option, and then I'm going to quite literally pause and reopen. On the phone, for some reason, this seems easier on the phone. It's where you can stack it. Maybe I just haven't figured it out yet, but I personally feel like it's easier. So after you do that with the gold, then we're going to sharpen it with a HD1. I like the HD kind of look to it. And then I think there's going to be one or two other layers that we're going to add after that. All right. I think we got two more effects I'm gonna put on this one. So then we're gonna go with the classic sharpen. I mean, you can already see the difference there. And then one more. So I'm gonna do one more of these and then we're good, I promise. Alrighty, so kind of the last effect I think I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna go black and white. We're gonna do a low cron. See if I can. I think I'm going to lighten screen. No, it's going to be lighten. We're going to do about 50%. Yep. And I'm going to call it a day on that. That's the final product. It looks a little bit cleaner. The colors all kind of reflect a little similar. There's a few tweaks I'd make just on my own personal design. I'd probably add a second layer of this on top just so that all of this behind is better hidden. But that's a nitpick that I probably would have made early on. But I didn't because I wanted to make it a little bit simpler on the demo. But that is how I would make a graphic. There's obviously this took 20 some odd minutes. Number one, I'm on my computer. I'm not familiar with the system. Number two, I feel like there's a lot of simplicity and easy things with the phone usage for it, including even just adding the effects. Like typically you're able to just stack it and it looks great and it's very simple and straight to the point. I don't know why the computer's a little bit different with that, but I digress. For me making this, which I made yesterday, I want to say at the time of recording, it was yesterday. I want to say it took me, not counting finding all the images, 20 minutes to put it all together. 20 minutes. To be fair, I knew what I was doing, kind of knew what I wanted from the get-go. And then beforehand, it was like 35 minutes of finding all these images, things that I liked, pick and choose what I wanted and keep. But that's pretty much it. I know this kind of turned into a 30-minute video. I kind of did a walk along with some of the things. Probably could have trimmed this down, but that's what I went with. If you have any additional questions or if you want me to do more things like this, ask me in the comments. I'm more than willing to help or answer any questions when it comes to this. I'm going to offer up to do this live for some people. To see if that's something that they're interested in. But yeah, that's kind of how I make graphics. I enjoy doing these kind of things, and I had a ton of fun even in this video trying to explain it to people. I hope that I was able to teach something in this video. If you learned something, love to hear about it. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts. If you learned something, if this was useful, maybe even leave your own tips if you're already knowledgeable. Like, how would you do it differently? What kind of things would you adjust? Even in the design, I'd love to talk about this kind of stuff. But either way, I hope this was beneficial at the end of the day. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel, of course, if you choose. But most importantly, and as always, Suit up, man army, and I hope to see you all in the future videos. Thank you again, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.